Welcome to the Kickstart Your Edge Play to Win Leadership Podcast,
where we've flipped the script with our groundbreaking modus operandi to bring you real, relevant, and relatable tactics and techniques to master your own play to win mindset.
Talk about a superpower. It's time to iron your cape.
What we know for sure is what got you here won't get you there.
You can't see the spinach in your own teeth.
And finally, hang on, because this one is really deep. Once you realize that you are the traffic, everything makes complete and unadulterated sense.
Welcome to The Edge, where playing not to lose is not an option. All right, Karen, you ready?
I believe I am.
We're going to talk about the debate.
What? Are you serious?
But we're not going to talk about the candidates or what was said.
What are we going to just pretend that we're talking about the debate?
No, but it's very interesting. So obviously, we watched the debate and the presidential debate in the United States, et cetera. And many, many, many people watched the debate. And there's a lot of commentary. But we're not going to talk about the candidates, so to speak, or specifically what they said. But it really gets me thinking of how much bias we have when we go into situations.
All right, Barley. So let me get in your head a little bit there. What criteria do you mean?
So what I mean by that is that for the most part, I would assume most people went into the debate with their preferred candidate in mind, right? There maybe was a few people that were undecided, et cetera. But in general, you went in rooting for a candidate or looking forward to hearing from your candidate or the other candidate. But after the debates were done, I would see in social media how certain things were said about one candidate and the exact same things were said about the other candidate. So it got me thinking, obviously I have my candidate in mind, right? And I thought that person showed up great and was articulate, dodged a few questions, but really just was straightforward. I walked away knowing 4 specific things about what they stood for, et cetera. The other candidate, I didn't get any of that. And people who love the other candidate totally got from their candidate what I got from mine. So do we look for it? Do we have this bias or even a confirmation bias to say, let's see how poorly this person shows up. And then we collect all the evidence on how poorly they showed up. Or if we are biased and we think our candidate is more articulate, do we look for that and then find evidence of why the other person isn't? It's just, how can two people see the exact same thing and say their non-preferred candidate showed up in a way that mirrors what the other person would think? I hope I'm making sense, but it got me really thinking a lot about when we have a bias, how much do we try to prove ourselves right?
Well, and I think that you just, I think that we all do have a bias. And I think that there was actually even a graphic that I saw this morning. And if you would have given me a heads up prior to what we were talking about today, I probably would have been able to find what those numbers were. But basically, it was something about, people, the Democrats who thought Harris did well was a high percentage, right? And the Republicans who felt, who wanted Trump thought he did well. So, so I think that it's kind of like that. It's not what, is it really like it's not what you're really looking at, but what are you really seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you can see anything you want. And that's the key. You can see anything at all you want. And you can see that on social media. You could see it on the news. You can hear it in conversations. And the interesting thing is I saw something that somebody posted maybe on Instagram or something, probably a couple weeks ago. And they're very, very like 100% all in for one of the candidates. And I was looking at it and I was just like, huh, I could say the exact same thing. And I know that I'm for the other candidate. So I think that it's just interesting. Is it bias? Is it justification? Is it wishful thinking? Is it, oh my gosh, please let this person win, and you want to see the good that that person is saying? Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think you could just get people to think all the time. And now that you're saying it, right, this isn't just about the debate. It has nothing to do with the debate, really, but that's a great example because you can go out and you can find whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it makes me curious on how often we do that in life, right? So, politics aside, and how open are we to seeing a different perspective? How open are we to researching or looking into something or catching ourselves saying, wow, I just said everybody's this way. Is that really true? Is that not true? What parts of it are true? It's just it's just super interesting. One of the things that I love about our friendship with our good friend Joanne is that when we talk about issues, and we do see a lot of the things the same, we're all three of us able to then go research.
Yeah, I think you're right. We do. We do research and we do look at each other's of our perspectives. So that brings into questions that just jumped out when you said that. My first question is what you said before you talked about Joanne was how open are you? And the more attached my made up story, the more you're attached to something, the less open you probably are. Also, the discussions with Joanne about politics, about a lot of stuff, right? I have respect for her opinion. So I'm more open to listening to that versus if I had that conversation with somebody else where they would tell me things and they would get, thank you.
Right.
Because that's when I'm out, right? When you get a thank you like that for me after you get, put out a whole big long spiel about what you think or what you believe or whatever, that's just me. Like, I am not going, like, I don't care enough to have this conversation with somebody about whatever it is they're talking about based on that, whatever the trust, the lack of respect, whatever that actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because with the three of us, we all have a different area that we're kind of focused on, right? So one thing's important to me, different things important to you, a different thing's important to Joanne. So although we lean in the same direction, we still have our independent thought and our independent things. What I have loved is being able to, I'm back on politics, where somebody has a different perspective that seems so far fetched to me, is for me to then go say, how can they believe that? By actually looking things up that give evidence on how they could believe it. And it's super helpful for me to say, oh, that's just not totally from left field. It's just only 1% of the people actually act on that particular thing. So it allows me to kind of understand where stories or social media is shared or how people cut and paste and repeat. And if you really look at it, you could say, all right, so yeah, technically there is that, but how does it really show up? It actually makes me more informed of my perspective. And I just wish more people would Google, research, and figure it out on their own versus just jumping on a social media bandwagon.
Yeah, I actually love to listen to, both both quote unquote sides, right? I will listen to CNN and I will listen to Fox News and whatever other avenues are out there that I'm flipping through on Sirius Radio to just hear what different people are saying. And it's just kind of just this full circle though, Jen, is that both sides really 100% believe what it is that their candidate is saying, however it's said, because I think that that's just what they want to see.
Yeah. So I think just, in terms of ourselves and growth and outside of politics is what perspectives, in general, do you, the listener, have that's holding you back, that you're looking for confirmation on, that closes you off in a certain way or prevents you from opportunities? I think it's really important to kind of think about what if you double down on that could be holding you back in a certain way. All right. On that note, I thought I'd throw you a curveball, Sullivan, and I totally did. Talk to you guys soon.
But I hit it.
You did. You always hit the curveballs. Thanks for listening to the Kickstart Your Edge Play to Win Leadership Podcast.
Craving more? Of course you are.
Check out our website at kickstartyouredge.com,
where we fire you up, fan the flames of your competitive edge culture, and ignite your tenacious pursuit of an all-out play-to-win mindset.